So I'd like to share a couple of sort of entry points into managing stressful experiences. We all certainly have stress, and it is sort of woven into our daily lives. And a lot of the time it can be really difficult to manage or even overwhelming. And so the two ways I'd like to suggest are really, as I said, sort of entry points or categories of ways of dealing with things. And the first is relaxation. The second is reframing. So with relaxation, there are countless ways to tap into some relaxation when you might need it or feel it could be useful. But a way that I'd like to suggest today that you begin to experiment with is by using the breath to slow things down in the body. The breath has a direct influence on heart rate. Each time we breathe in, our heart speeds up just a little bit, and each time we breathe out, the opposite occurs. Our heart begins to slow down. And this influence of our lungs and our respiration on our heart can be sort of captured and taken advantage of, because we don't have a knob on our heart to turn it up and down, but we can regulate our own breathing. So what we might try is to breathe in for a short duration of time and to breathe out for a longer duration of time. So over the course of a minute, 2 minutes, several minutes, we're spending more time with our heart being told to slow down than it is being told to speed up. So what we might try to do is to actually time how long each breath lasts, just by counting in our minds. Breathing in for, say, 4 seconds or so, holding for a few seconds. Sometimes it's just nice to feel the gulp of oxygen we've just taken in. And then breathing out maybe for twice as long as we breathed in. So in this case, maybe about 8 seconds. So I'd like to suggest we try this, just as you're listening to this video now, just one breath in and out, and I'll use my fingers to count. Maybe breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 6 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds. Okay, so try this with me now, breathing in, hold, and breathe out. Good, now you can breathe in and breathe normally again. So try to tap into right now how your body feels after having just breathed like that. You might notice that it's sometimes a little hard to coordinate the breath with the time, the length of the breath with the seconds that you're counting. Sometimes you can feel a strain in bringing in enough air or feeling like you've run out too quickly. Just keep playing with that so that you feel like you hit the right balance. But our primary muscle in breathing is called the diaphragm, right around the center of our torso. It's kind of shaped like a parachute or a jellyfish. So when we breathe in, we're contracting that muscle and it's flattening out. And when we breathe out, it's relaxing and returning to its shape. So try to imagine even that diaphragm being used, that big muscle being used to breathe, to allow the air to be drawn downward instead of in like that. We don't actually bring our air in, we just make room for it and it pours in by itself. So use this 4, 6, 8 breathing just on your own throughout the day. Try it for just 1 breath, 3 breaths, 5 breaths. Sit down for a minute and a half and do it over and over again. And try to take stock of how your body then feels. And then after you kind of get used to it, you get the hang of it, begin to try to apply it to stressful scenarios or situations. You might be able to do something a little like it even while you're having conversations with people, but certainly like before or after some nervous event, something you're nervous about or something that doesn't go well. Try it out and see what it feels like. The other entry point I mentioned, reframing, is really about taking stressful situations as they are and thinking about them in a way that can make them more manageable. And one way I might suggest doing that is by sliding into a storytelling mode, shifting our mind toward a storytelling frame. So what that might mean is to realize in the moment of stress that this moment will soon be the middle of a story that I will be able to tell someone else or myself in the near future. So a day from now, an hour from now, a week from now, I'll be able to reflect on this portion of the story I'm living, and I'll be able to tell how it led up to it, how the stress was felt, how it impacted me, and how it passed through, and how I moved through the scenario to experience something else, some relief, some change, some alteration. And that can place stress in a wider context. It doesn't make the stress change, but the context can change how we experience it. It might be thought of as the difference between being in a phone booth with a bee, which could be very tense and stressful, versus being out in an open field with that same bee the same distance from you. You might still have to be cautious of it, but in this huge space, it means something different. The threat is decreased. So to take these couple of entry points, relaxation and reframing, these are just the couple of examples I shared, are just a couple of ways of doing that. I encourage you to experiment on your own with what using these would be like. And try to challenge yourself within the first 5 seconds of a stressful trigger or situation. Try to implement something. Even if it doesn't work, just try it. You'll learn a lot about what doesn't work too. And carry that intention with you throughout the day and the week, and see what it's like to live with this renewed view of what stress is and what you can do about it.